Club, or put your question in your bio, raise your hand, and we'll scan it. And that gives you a sense of, look, if they're not opening.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Birmingham Bible Church's Winning Wednesday. We are so glad that you can join us here on today, wherever you are, whether you are at home in your pajamas in this virtual space or you are in the break room. We are thankful that you have decided to join us here on today. And so we need you to do something for us. We want you to share this broadcast. We are on Facebook, we're on Periscope, We are on YouTube. On YouTube, we are BHAM BC. On Periscope, we are Birmingham Bible Church. And then, of course, a lot of you are watching us now on Facebook, BHAM Bible, formerly known as the Church of Way International. Well, I need you to tell someone, I need you to text someone about this broadcast. And guess what? To this month, all month long, we are celebrating women. It is National Women's Month. And so a lot of you may be wondering, well, what is that? What is it all about? Many years ago, someone decided that society needed to create some type of opportunity so that we can showcase our beautiful women who have made a lot of contributions to society. They have made a lot of achievements, and so we are celebrating them, whether they made political achievements, educational, scientific, whether they work a 40-hour job, cook meals, see about the kids, see about the husband, whatever they do, they need to be celebrated. And so we celebrate all women on today, no matter what your nationality is, you are celebrated all month long. And so we need to kick this off right, y'all. So we couldn't think of anybody else but Denise Hamiliton. She is an international speaker. She has done a lot of presentations in male-dominated organizations. So I know she is very well able and fit to bring to us and talk to us about a woman and her business. And so I introduce to you all Denise Hamiliton. Hello, Denise. Hey. Uh-oh. Can't hear you. I think you're muted. Sorry.
Oh, see,
There we go.
we love technology.
Love.
It's so good to be with you today.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And so tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then you can go ahead and talk to us about how we can help our business and what we can do to promote it and get it going.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Hamiliton, CEO and founder of Watch Her Work. I am a diversity strategist and inclusion strategist, which means that I go into companies and help them figure out how to make their organizations more inclusive. I specialize in working with senior leaders to help them unpack their stuff so that they can help the company unpack their stuff. So I am a professional speaker. I speak on stages all over the country and the world. I guess I can say world because I've done Canada and Bali at this point now too. So and I love this topic. I love talking to women about how they can be more powerful, more successful, more effective, right? We all want to be effective. So I work with clients like Salesforce and BP, ExxonMobil, Heinz, GE, all the big companies. But I was thrilled to get this invitation to come and spend some time with y'all this afternoon.
Well, thank you so much. We are so glad you did. Of course, you and my husband go way back to college days, and so he knew you back then. And so I've come to know you, and you are a beautiful person inside out. I hope you don't think I'm stalking you on Clubhouse, but it seems like every time I join a room, you're like in there talking. But it's such great information. It really is. I mean, I have learned a lot. I hadn't heard you in a while, but yeah, thank you so much. So what you got for us today?
All right, let's just jump into it. You ready? Y'all ready? The first thing I want everyone to do is make sure you have a glass of water. Water is life. I hope that you are rejuvenating yourself. You are refreshing yourself. Like if you are home, run right now, go get a glass of water because we need to hydrate. And we're going to talk a lot about self-care today and in the context of our conversation. The other thing I want you to do, once you have your water and you're sipping it with me, is to breathe. It's just breathe. Just take a moment. And we're going to do what's called a box breath. You're going to breathe in for 4. You're going to hold it for 7. And then you're going to release it for 8. Okay, we're going to do that 3 times. So put your feet on the floor. I'm going to follow my own directions. Put your feet on the floor. Relax. And again, you're going to breathe in for 4, hold your breath for 7, and then release for 8. Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release. And you can release with a noise. Get it all out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Next time. One more time. Breathe. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And blow it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Deep breath in all the way to the bottom of your lungs. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and release. Blow it out. Blow out all that old tired air. Get it all out of your body. And now breathe normally. Hopefully you feel a little, just a little cleansing, a little spirit cleansing. We are breathing so shallow. We're not, everybody's kind of going from crisis to crisis and emergency to emergency. And we have to remember to hydrate and to breathe. All right. So now let's jump into our content. I was so thrilled when y'all called and asked me to talk about this subject of like, how do you protect your business? What advice do we have for women in business? And I've got tons of advice. If you know what I do at Watch Her Work, I curate female brilliance. I film successful women and organize their advice on the web so that other women have it. Around all the subjects: divorce, childcare issues. How do you ask for a raise? How do you tell your boss you're pregnant? What do you do if a client hits on you? All those questions we answer at Watch Her Work. And so I've gotten the wonderful blessing to be able to talk to all of these dynamic women all over the country. And I've kind of gathered some lessons from them today. So we're going to go through 10 lessons that you can apply to your business and to you personally, right? Because I want you to think like there's kind of like what you need to do for your business, but it's like everything else. It's like training a dog. People say, oh, my dog is out of control. No, you're out of control. Because if you're in control, your dog is in control. My kids are driving me crazy. No, you're driving yourself crazy. Because if you set parameters and boundaries with your children, they will honor those boundaries and opportunities. So I just think that it's really important to understand that if you can master yourself, you can master anything else. If you can figure out how to control you and take care of you and see yourself not as the bottom of the list, but really close to the top. Because if you're in good shape as a giver, as a helper, as a caretaker, you make sure everybody else is in good shape, right? So the first thing that I want us to start doing, and this is a tricky one, is I want us to stop holding our breath. Stop holding your breath. So if you're taking notes, the first thing I want you to do is stop holding your breath. So what do I mean by that? So a couple years ago, I had a great personal trainer, and I had been telling him that I really wanted to get in shape and I was really committed. And he said, all right, let's start with pull-ups. And I looked at him like he was crazy, because to me, you might as well have said, hey, Denise, you feel like going to Mars today? Because I just didn't see any way that I could do a pull-up. It's just impossible. And so he's like, no, we're going to do it. It's going to be great. I'm going to support you. We're going to make it happen. I said, great. So we did a bunch of exercises. We worked on that muscle groove, whatever, to be able to do the pull-up. So it's the day and we're getting ready to try to do the pull-up. And I was like, yes, I'm ready. So I get up to the bar and I grab a hold of it and I pull myself up. And I tell you, when I got my chin over that bar, I really feel like there should have been a band. They should have been playing music. They should have been celebrating because I thought it was such an accomplishment. I feel like we should make today a holiday because Denise did a pull-up, right? He did not crack a smile. He was not impressed. He did not think I had done what I needed to do. I looked over him and he said, that doesn't count. And I said, what do you mean it doesn't count? I just did a pull-up. This is history we made today. And he said, it doesn't count. I said, why? He said, you held your breath the whole time. He said, you can hold your breath through one pull-up, but you'll never hold your breath through 2. You'll never do 4. You'll never do 7. You'll never get to 10. So you can't hold your breath through the challenge. You have to learn to breathe through the challenge. So that's the message. The first lesson, when I say stop holding your breath, you have to learn to breathe through the challenge. And we have tons of challenges going on right now, right? And in a lot of ways, we're holding our breath. We're waiting for things to go back to normal. We're waiting for everything to go back to the way it used to be. Newsflash, it might not go back to the way it used to be. Your business may be fundamentally changed. You may be in a totally different situation than you were before. But one of the things that we have to be honest about is, what is the situation on the ground? What is happening? What is my reality? Some of y'all need to go buy that good office chair, because you're going to be working from home more than you thought you were. And you are sitting on a crickety old chair and your back is hurting and you're feeling fatigued. And it's like, invest in the things that are going to set you up to be successful. Right? Stop waiting for it to go back to normal. Do you need some additional tools? Do you need some additional support? Do you need to tap your family to help you with this or that? Do you need to have a meal service? You need to vacate the house and have a housekeeper come once a month. Maybe all you can afford is once a month, but go on and do it, y'all. Whatever you have to do to create space, you have to bring your creativity and your imagination and your innovation to your business. And you can't do that if you're wiped out, if you're holding your breath to get through it. You have to stop holding your breath. You've got to breathe. You got to deal with the situation as it is on the ground. I work with a group of single moms. And how we came to work together is right when the pandemic started. I did a post on Facebook and I said, listen, single moms, I used to be one for a lot of years. Reach out to each other. This is the time that you may want to, if you have a lease that's coming to the end, you may want to tap a couple other single moms and y'all get a bigger house that has a backyard. We're about to be very isolated. And especially if you have an only child, your child isn't going to be able to socialize with other children in the same way. Also, if you're working from home and you have 3 moms in the house, then somebody can watch the kids when you have your big meeting. They can be outside playing when you need to have quiet for your session, right? And this little group of moms, they took me up on it and they reached out and they were like, how do you suggest we do it? And I walked them through it. And I have to tell you, they are the living example of not holding your breath, breathing through the challenge. What is the problem on the ground? Honestly, what are my biggest challenges? 1, my child's going to be isolated. 2, how am I going to manage all the chores and responsibilities and do homeschooling? 3, I'm not good at homeschooling. I wasn't a good student. I don't know how to help my child. Okay. 4, and list what the challenges are and solve for those challenges, however drastic the need is, do it. So some of you have businesses that are brick and mortar businesses. Have you pivoted to be able to do things online? Have you figured out different business services that you can offer? Have you really talked with your landlord about how you're going to move forward with leases or with those responsibilities? There's a beautiful thing about optimism, but optimism, if you don't handle it well, can trap you, because it stops you from doing the things that you need to do to move your life forward. So the first thing I would say, especially in a pandemic like we're experiencing right now, is stop holding your breath. Assess what the situation is, what the biggest challenges are, and figure out a plan to address them and commit to that plan. If you are taking notes, I want to invite everybody to go to YouTube and watch a short video. I don't even think it's 10 minutes. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved My Cheese? And it's based on it's a really old book, but I read it every year. And I think it was made for a moment like this. So Who Moved My Cheese? Check that out. It's really short. And I would also invite your children to watch it. Encourage your family members to watch it, because the whole point of it is you can stand around and wait for things to go back to normal, or you can figure out how to make a new reality for yourself, right? So I really encourage everyone to read that. So that's the first one. Stop holding your breath. Okay. The second one is don't ask amateurs for expert testimony. There are people, don't ask amateurs for expert testimony. We have a tendency to kind of revert back to the people that are really comfortable to us, really familiar, right? And that can be super problematic. Maybe your best friend from high school is really great and you love her and she's wonderful, but does she know how to calculate insurance rates, insurance packages, or how to negotiate severance, or how to figure out how to renegotiate your lease? She may not be the right person to be getting business advice from. And while we're here, this also goes for personal advice. Please stop asking Linda for advice on your marriage. She is not married, honey. She does not know. Don't ask people who don't have kids what you should do with your kids and how this should go and how that should go. We have to get in the habit of asking people who are experienced for their best advice and their best contributions. All advice ain't good advice, y'all. And that's just a hard lesson we have to learn. And while we're here, there can be a racial or a gender or a class dimension to this, right? I don't know anybody that's really good at this problem. Well, guess what? You better go find somebody. This is the time to meet new people, to network, to build relationships. I've heard so many people say, oh my gosh, I haven't networked at all. How do you network in a pandemic? Your network is still your net worth. Even in a pandemic, even today, you still have to cultivate those relationships. And now that may sound impossible. Denise, I could barely get my laundry done. I could barely get some food on the table. Like that, I'm so stressed out. I'm so overcommitted. I hear you. But if you want to be standing after this pandemic is over, you are going to tend the garden of your relationships. You have to. So how are you going to make it manageable? Is it, I'm going to pick 3 people a week and just reach out and give them an actual call on the actual phone so they hear your voice and they actually connect with you. And you'd be surprised. Maybe they're at home and they're lonely. Maybe they've been talking to kids for 5 days straight and they'd love to welcome your call, right? But maintain those relationships, tend those gardens. And something that I've been doing, and I tell you, I've been really surprised. I have been reaching out cold to people on LinkedIn, cold. And you'd be surprised how many people are like, sure. And what do I reach out and say? Hey, I'd love to have a 15-minute informational interview with you. I just had a couple questions. I wanted to understand how you navigated this point in your career. Or when you did that merger, how did you structure that? Or when you started in this industry, what were the hardest challenges? What 3 pieces of advice could you share with me? Notice I only said 15 minutes. That way, if they're busy or if they're not interested, they can cut it off. You've given them an exit strategy, right? But almost everybody can spare 15 minutes. And let's say you send that out to 20 people and even 5 say yes. That's 5 people that you would have never met, that you might have never connected to, that because they're home, because they're available, because they are open and looking for interaction themselves, now you have this amazing new connection. Okay, so I just don't want you to get, I know somebody's listening to me right now and they're saying, Denise, one more thing to do. But listen, this is worth stepping over the laundry to do. Right? You can leave the laundry for one day. You can leave the dishes can sit in the sink, but this is the key to the future of your business is how are your customers doing? Are they still with you? Are they shaky? Do you know? Are you talking to them? Are you asking them how they're doing? Are there other services you can provide for them? You don't know if you don't ask. Right? So staying connected. And normally we would have gone to 10 events already this year. and we would have bumped into people, we would have seen, you know, and you just would have connected normally. So you're going to have to do it artificially until things open back up. But trust me, the people that tend the gardens of their relationships at the end of this are going to come out smelling like a rose. So this whole idea of, you know, that it ties very closely to this idea of stop holding your breath. Stop waiting for things to go back to normal until you start developing business. People's businesses are booming right now. Should you be getting your minority certification or your women-owned business certification? This is a great time to do that. While maybe you're not as busy as you normally are. Should you be organizing your files, organizing how your processes are, redoing your website? There's so many things that are just little improvements. I have a friend who wants to be a professional speaker. And so she reached out to me and said, you know, I'm so bummed out because I feel like there's no way I'm going to be able to reach this goal. I'm going to have to push it back and push it back. And I said, why do you have to push it back? Well, I mean, I've never been on a big stage. There's no place for me to practice. And I said, most movie theaters right now have a rental fee. You can rent a movie theater and just have them, just tell them, don't turn on the movie. Or you can give them your PowerPoint and they can play your PowerPoint behind you and you can practice your whole speech on the stage, how you're going to deal with the audience, how you're going to do, like, get creative about things that you can do. You have a goal. What are the things that are possible right now? There are small churches, big churches that are saying, hey, if you, for a fee, you can come in and film content on the stage. You can practice with a sound system. What a great way to continue to develop your skills, right? Safely. It could be just you. You could be the only person in the room if you want to. So I think that we have to really get creative, really challenge ourselves. And sometimes, like we talk about how when you're in crisis, you are in fight or flight, but there's a third one, it's freeze. And a lot of us are just frozen, waiting for something else to change. And this may be how it is for a little while longer. And so there's some lessons and some evolutions that we can have. And if we have the courage to do it, and to reach out to people that don't look like you, don't come from the same background as you, don't come from even the same industry as you. This is a wonderful opportunity to connect to a whole broader network of people. And wouldn't that be beautiful? All right. Number 3, channel your inner J-Lo. And if you follow me at all, you may have heard me say this before, but it's my favorite story and I'm going to tell it. I used to work in music video production a million years ago, like a long time ago. And I was production manager for a J-Lo video. And, you know, when you work with the artist, they send what's called a rider. And on that rider, it has all of the things that they require. They want the room to be this temperature. They want water. It can only be this brand, not that brand. They want, you know, a kiwi, but it can't be from Australia. It's very, very specific, right? And so we were laughing. We were kind of making fun of it. Who does she think she is? Like, oh, what a diva. This is so dramatic. And one of the producers, the executive producer, she pulled me to the side and she said, how many people are here today? And it's like over 200 people. It's dancers, it's craft services, it's the guys that do the lights, it's the director, it's the choreographer. There's a lot of people involved in a big budget music video. And it's like 200 people. And she said, are any of them here for you? I said, no, ma'am. She said, what happens if you don't do your best today? Kind of nothing. I'm part of a team. Other people will pick up the slack and the show will go on. She said, what happens if J-Lo doesn't do her best today? All of this ends up on the trash. This all ends up on the floor, right? All the work, all the money, if she doesn't operate at her highest and best level. So if have you been dancing for 2 hours straight? No. So why should her dressing room be the temperature that's comfortable for you? She said, Do you have a food allergy? Yeah, no. So why should she risk a food allergy getting the fruit that's gonna trigger something in her body? Why should she drink the water that you like? Why should things be accommodated to you? Instead of making fun of her, what I want you to do is learn the lesson from her. And it was the most powerful lesson I've learned my entire life, that you have to have the courage to create the optimal conditions for your success. I'll say that one more time. You have to have the courage to create the optimal conditions for your success. That means do what you need to do to get what you need to get to accomplish what you need to accomplish, and do it unapologetically. If you need 7 hours of sleep, or you are a cranky, terrible mess, you got to make sure you get 7 hours of sleep. So what does that look like? That may mean, okay, everybody, no more TV after 6:30 because it winds y'all up. Everybody get a book. Everybody get in their room. Like you have to do what you've got to do to create a space that you can be at your best. And there's an interesting kind of like, I don't know, there's an interesting issue here of feeling like martyrs, like you're supposed to put yourself last as a woman. And I really want to challenge that, because think of who I used in this example. It's J-Lo. This example is 20 years old. Is J-Lo still popping? Is she still at the top of her game? Is she still performing and producing, and like, is she still successful? Yes, she's still successful because she has created spaces for herself. She has always protected. There's a million things you can't control, but there's also a million things you can. And if you have the courage, and it takes courage to say, no, I need to go get my nails done today because when my nails aren't done, I feel like an animal. And you don't have to understand it. You don't have to think it makes sense. It doesn't have to make sense to you. That's how I feel, right? I need to go for a 30-minute walk this morning because that's how I get rid of my stress and my tension. And if I can do that, I'm so much better for the rest of the week, for the rest of the day, right? You have to do those things. You have to be committed to them unapologetically, because life happens. And there's going to be a million people that are going to push you out of that optimization of your experience. That's just the nature of people, right? And so if you don't protect that those things, and you got to figure out even what those things are for yourself, right? But if you don't protect those things, then you're always operating at 30%, 40%, if you're lucky 50%. We need you killing the game at 100%. What can you accomplish for your family, for your relationship, for your children, for your business if you're at 100%, right? I mean, the sky is literally the limit. So I just want us to, that lesson of channel your inner J-Lo. When the pandemic started, we found a treadmill on Craigslist. My husband has a pickup truck. We went and bought it. I moved all the furniture in the living room and I put the treadmill smack dab in the middle of my living room. Why? Because the biggest windows in my house are right in that living room area. And I know me, I can't do it. If it's in a dark, secluded, any excuse not to exercise, I will not do it. So I put it in the best place in the house for me to enjoy and experience and have that little extra lift and get that sunshine on my face when I'm exercising. Nobody's coming over anyway. It's a pandemic. You shouldn't be having house guests anyway. So it didn't matter, right? But it mattered significantly to my ability to progress and to do the things I've got to do. So you have to arrange everything for you to be the best and most powerful that you can be. All right. Number 4, let yourself be a beginner. We are in a crisis of confidence. It is a crisis. I personally blame social media. If I could wave a magic wand, it's one of the forces that I would change in our society right now. You know, as I said, I'm a professional speaker, and I would speak to huge audiences, and afterwards I would have 100 young women online waiting to speak to me. And I cannot tell you, with almost 70-80% reliability, their comments were, but I'm scared to start. But what if I'm not good enough? But what if nobody likes my stuff? What if I, like that theme of being inadequate and being scared to start? We have made being a beginner a dirty word. Being an amateur is the worst thing in the world. And the problem with that is there's everybody has to be an amateur. Everybody has to start at a C and work your way up to a B minus and work your way up to a B plus and then an A, and like you have to grow. And we are consistently cheating ourselves out of our growth because we're comparing our chapter 3 to somebody else's chapter 20. We're looking at, quite frankly, at their highlight reel of all the things they're accomplishing and all the things that they're doing. You have to start. If I go back and look at my early speeches, my early videos, I want to cringe. I think they're terrible now. But guess what? If I didn't start there, I wouldn't be here today. We're cheating ourselves out of our maturation. I don't know what you will ultimately be. I don't know how great you're going to ultimately be at this new service that you're adding to your business, or this new technology that you're employing. Maybe one day you will be a master at it, but you can't be anything at it if you're so scared to start and you won't let yourself be a beginner, if you won't let yourself be a student. So I want you to take a second right now and think about the areas that you're scared to start. Yeah, I really want to do maybe IG lives, or I want to do YouTube videos for my business, or I want to be interviewing people and putting that on TikTok, or maybe I want to learn how to use a CRM for my business to track all my contacts, but I'm scared. I don't know how to do it. You can go on Fiverr, you can go on Upwork, you can find people you can go put it on Facebook right now. Hey, y'all, I'm trying to really learn how to do X. Is anybody in here an expert, or can you tag an expert that I can spend an hour with virtually and they can teach me how to do that? There's so many people that are great at that thing you're trying to learn, right? But don't avoid learning it because you're worried that it won't be perfect right out the gate. So if I'm looking at how I can grow my business, what are some new things I can do? Well, I don't know how to do that. I'm always amazed by people who buy restaurants and they've never had a restaurant before. I think that is the most amazing, courageous thing to do. You're going to serve food to people and you've never done this before. But what do? They get the recipes, they hire the team, they hire the experience. And in a couple months, there's the restaurant up and running and doing great, even though they never did it before. What things have you never done before that you're stopping yourself because you're worried that you can't do it well yet? Let's add yet at the end of that sentence and just kind of think of a few things, a few skills, a few services that you could add to your business, a few adaptations or updates. And sometimes that's going to mean accessing other people. I mentioned Fiverr, that's Fiverr, and Upwork, Upwork. Both of those sites are places that you can hire people to do logos and banners and video editing, and they'll help you. Hey, I want to start doing TikTok videos. I don't know how to do that. That's a young person's game. No, it's not. A friend of mine is a coffee shop owner in Chicago. Yeah. And he has 6 million followers on TikTok. We were like, what in the world? And he is our age. We're like, Nick, what are you doing? But I love that story because it reminds me that these are all just tools. There aren't tools for young people, tools for old people, tools for white people, tools for Black people. Like, they're just tools. And if you apply yourself to use them to save you time, to make your business run more effectively, to give you some additional services you can sell, then that's a win-win for everybody. But the first thing you have to get over is your need for perfection. Like, you just got to let it go, and somebody's going to start and it's going to be terrible. And you're going to ask your friends and they're going to say, girl, sis, that was terrible. And you listen for advice. You listen for the constructive criticism, and you fix this and you repair that and you reshape that and you retool that. You know why? Because you're smart and you're capable and you're adaptive. It lets your kid, let you find out that your child has some rare disease. By the end of the year, you could have a PhD in that disease, because you would research and you would dig everything up and you would go to all the appointments. You would have the notebook. You would have all the information. Am I lying? Like, you would. Apply that to your business. Apply that same energy to your business of like, I really want to learn how to do Facebook ads. I really want to learn how to edit videos, or learn how to even manage someone to edit videos for me, or to help me write scripts. There's talent. There's so much talent available right now of people that want to help you because they're struggling financially. So figure out, don't be so worried about it not being perfect right out the gate. Let yourself grow. Let yourself be a beginner. All right, the next one, reduce friction. Please reduce friction. Help me help you. I can't tell you how many people send me email and it's like, hi, Denise, I would love to get together. Who are you? Why are we getting together? What is the subject? What do you want to talk about? Like, it's amazing. I remember when I was working in commercial real estate, I had a student come in. She was referred to me from a friend. I did not know her at all. And she said, I know that there are all these three main areas of commercial real estate, which is office, retail, and warehouse. She said, which one do you think I would be best at? I'm so sorry. I don't have any idea, because I met you 10 minutes ago. I don't know who you are. So I don't have any idea. I wanted her out of my office because she's asking me to do the heavy lifting. Make it so easy. Make it so easy for people to help you. So like, say, for example, somebody wants me to write a recommendation letter for them. I'm so busy. You might ask me and I want to. In my heart, I promise you I want to. But things start happening, I get busy. And because you're not paying me for this, I have to keep bumping you to the bottom of the list, right? But if you ask me to do a recommendation letter for you and you say, hey, Denise, so thank you so much for agreeing to do a recommendation letter to save you time. I took the liberty of writing down where we met, some highlights of our relationship, and some things about, oh, snap. Now this is ready. All I have to do is edit it and send it right back to you. Hallelujah. That is somebody that knows how to reduce friction, how to make it so easy that I can't tell you no. That goes back to that 15-minute informational interview. I mean, who can't spare 15 minutes? You're making it so easy, as opposed to, I would love to take you to lunch. You know what I hear when somebody says, I would love to take you to lunch? I hear, I would love to imprison you and not let you escape and take an hour and a half of your life minimum, because I've got to drive to the restaurant. I got to park. I have to be do the whole lunch with you, which is probably an hour. And then I have to drive back home or back to the office. That's an hour and a half minimum. I don't know you. Like, what is my hourly rate? Why would I give you an hour and a half of my life? Right. And so when you make it so easy, hey, can we do a 15-minute Zoom? Absolutely. Sure. And if I like you, I'll keep talking. I'll keep connecting, right? Or if, and at the end of that conversation, if you say, hey, could I follow up with you in a month from now? I want to share with you what I've done and give you feedback on kind of trying the things that you suggested. I might say, okay, yeah, sure. When can we do that? You see how the difference? Make it so easy for people to help you. And I think make it easy for you to help yourself. That's in there too. Like if you need help getting organized, maybe you're not an organized person naturally. Like get help with that, because when it's time to find the documents you need to find, or apply for grants, or do all the things that you need to do, I don't know about you, but it is so stressful to be hunting and digging through a stack of papers and where is this and I can't find that. If that's something that you're not naturally good at, get some help with that. Because again, you want to reduce friction in your life, reduce friction, make it so easy. It's in the morning, the kids are going to school, their lunches are already packed, their clothes have been already sorted in piles of what they need to put on. They like reduce the friction of your life so that you can be sure that you are maximizing what you want to accomplish. All right. In the I'm only going to do one more because in the interest of time, because I know we want to get to some Q&As. But this next one is don't settle for pickle juice. Don't settle for pickle juice. And y'all know what pickle juice is. It is the liquid in the jar that is like the pickle. It smells like the pickle. And it was around the pickle. And it is reminiscent of the pickle. But it is not, in fact, the pickle. Right? And too many of us settle for pickle juice. We settle for a cheap substitute. We settle for being around a thing instead of being a thing. So here's where I'm gonna have to go a little Bible on y'all. I believe every single one of us was given a set of talents, right? My number may be 2, your number may be 7, somebody else's number may be 10. But whatever talents you were given, you're expected to maximize those talents. And so many of us are, in a way, hiding behind our kids, hiding behind our husband, hiding behind requirements or demands of life, hiding around busyness. And I just want us to remember that each one of us is going to be assessed on how we utilize our talents. Our talents may be the gift of encouragement. It may be kindness. You may be the best cook there ever was. But your gift may also be you are an extremely talented writer. You are an incredible presenter. You are a powerful businesswoman. You make really excellent deals. And I want us to give ourselves space to get out of that number 2 spot. We are always the wind beneath somebody else's wings, honey. and I love it. It's a great song, but sometimes you need to hold yourself accountable for challenging and developing your gifts and the things that you are supposed to do to impact the world. So I want us to be sure that we are challenging ourselves, and we're doing what gets graded in that space and believing in our ability to ask for that next big thing. Even in the current situations, there are new things that you can be doing. There are new goals that you can be setting. And, there's a lot of room for growth. Some of us are scared of numbers. Like, let's be honest. We're scared to dig into the profit and loss statement and whatever. I literally went on Upwork and I hired somebody to sit online with me for 2 hours. And we literally walked through all of my financial statements, all of my projections. She helped me to figure out what reports I need for my business, what are the key KPIs, the key performance indicators for my business. And I tell people this because you don't have to figure it all out. One of the biggest lies that the current culture tells us is that we have to have all of the answers. You remember when God tells Moses to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? What is the first thing Moses said? I can't do it. I'm not a good speaker. God said, what? Mind your business. I don't need you to be a good speaker. I'm going to give you a good speaker. And what I want you to do is to lead the people out. And I think so often we feel like if we're not good at this, then we can't be good at that. Right. And I just want us to push through. If you're uncomfortable with a subject, if you're unsure of how to handle a subject, that is fine. Right? That's fine. Get help with that. You don't have to be perfect at every single thing, but don't let that stop you from being the leader, the business leader that you want to be, being the professional in your organization that you want to be. There's help out there. So ask for it and ask for it courageously. So I've given you a lot of thoughts today, and the last thought I'll leave with you before we go to question and answer is that we need to stop chewing and swallow. Stop chewing and swallow. If I want to learn to swim, I can listen to podcasts about swimming. I can read a book about swimming. I can listen to YouTube videos about swimming. But at some point, I'm going to have to get in the water and actually swim. Like you're going to have to get in the water and swim. So stop chewing, stop learning. And that sounds like a crazy thing to say, but some of us are addicted to learning and listening, and we need to translate some of that into doing. So I've given you some ideas and some ways to shift your mindset today. And I know you may have a page full of notes. Don't put those notes in a notebook and you don't look at them for 6 months, right? As soon as this conversation is over, sit for 10 minutes and think, how am I going to do this stuff? What skills do I need to work on? What things make me feel really rested and refreshed to do my best work? What do I need to get rid of? Like really challenge yourself to apply what you're learning, because otherwise this is just an exercise and we just wasted an hour of our lives together. And I know Pam doesn't want to waste her time. We don't waste our time around here. So let's make sure that as we're learning, we are applying and committing to that. My challenge today for you is that you do something. Do something. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Denise. Wow, this was awesome. I'm wondering when are we going to get the next 4 points? This was really great. And just the way you brought in self-care, because a lot of times as women, we just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going through the motion. We do for everybody, and then we're like, okay, exhausted. We're lack of sleep and what have you, because life happens and stuff comes up. But how important it is, because we need to be our best so that we can go ahead and move into things that God has for us. I had a couple questions, and one was, and you said one time on a podcast, what are some, and my question is, what are some characteristics that women need to have while working in business? And you mentioned one time you asked somebody, what were they doing for their organization? And immediately they were talking about, oh, well, I'm trying to do this for me and I'm doing this for my business. And you were like, no, what are you doing for the organization you're currently working for? In other words, how are you serving your current organization? Because a lot of times we want to be quick to go to the palace. We all want to quote, Ruth got her Boaz, Ruth got her Boaz. However, she was serving and working in the field before she got to the Boaz. So what are some like little quick things or some quick characteristics that you think women need to have working in business?
Such a great question. So I think that one of the mistakes we make is we spend so much energy thinking about the next job that we don't do this one. We don't do the one we currently have. And we're not showing up well. Our attentions are divided. We have too much friction. We're not concerned about what our reputation is professionally, right? I believe how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And your leaders are looking at you. And what I always find really interesting is if you are starting a business, would your current coworkers do business with you?
Mm.
Or would they think, I can't do that with Denise. Denise's work is shoddy. Denise is sometimes she shows up. Like, that's why I love, there's a thing in the business where they do a 360 review, where they ask people above you, they ask your peers, and they ask the people that work under you what they think of you. And you got to read all of these reports. Sometimes it's traumatic. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's really important to think about yourself reputationally. Right? Am I a good steward of my gifts? My company has exchanged money for my giftedness. Am I being honest in the delivery of that service? Am I bringing my best to this space? If I started a business with my current employer buy from me, would they be excited to be my first customer? Or would they be like, oh, I'm glad she's gone? Right? But so when working within an organization, you need to always be building your brand. And something I see among younger people is, I want to be VP one day. I want to be, how do I get your job? And I know that I get the idea behind that question, but isn't it just a much better question to say, how can I do my job really well? What do I need to be improving in? Are you good at asking for feedback? Don't wait until performance appraisal time. Do it year round, right? Do it year round. Stop in, check in with your boss and say, hey, how am I doing? Is there any feedback you would give me? You know, we just worked on that project and I don't know if I was 100% happy with how it went down. How do you think I could have handled it better? Right? Because if you have a good relationship, open dialogue with your employer, they can give you that feedback that can make you sharp and amazing. One of the biggest challenges when I work with organizations from a diversity standpoint is nobody coaches the minority employees. Nobody wants to come in and say, you know what, when you go into a meeting, you crack your neck when you get upset and you get really, and it's not working. It really alienates people because they're so worried about ending up in HR that they just say, well, I'm just going to leave her alone. Well, the worst thing in the world is everyone leaves you alone because you're not getting feedback about the things you need to do better. And everybody has areas that they need to grow. So absolutely, do the job you have right now at the highest possible level. And I believe that your gifts make room for you. But you have to be a steward of what you have today if you want more tomorrow.
Wow, that was good. And so that brought another question to mind. So I'm an African American woman, I work in an organization, and I'm trying to convey a message of, you know, something is not right in the organization. I'm trying to express my point of view, trying to express something's unfair, but I come across as the angry Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I not come across as an angry Black woman, but get my views pointed across? How can I do that?
Such a fantastic question. So first of all, make sure you're right.
Okay.
I don't think people take the time to make sure that what they're saying is correct, right? You have a feeling about something. I want you to shift from I feel like blah, blah, blah to I have observed, I saw. It's my understanding that the policy is. Like, make your conversation more about what is than how you feel about what is. So you say that the policy is that everybody clocks out at 5:30, but Jim, because he wants to coach Little League and you like sports, Jim leaves at 3:00 to go coach his kids' Little League team, and you expect all of us to do the work, right? That would be a perfect example of something that is totally reasonable to complain about. So instead of saying, I'm really upset, I feel like this is unfair, I feel like, I'm being taken advantage of, that's not what I would say. I would say, my understanding of the policy is that we all work until 5:30. Work has been distributed across all of us based on those hours. I've observed that Jim left on this date, this date, this date, this date, this date, and with the expectation that the rest of us would divide up his work. I'm curious as to how you see parity is going to be established. How are we going to get that additional? Are we going to all be given that flexibility? Are we going to all, like, you're asking questions? I always come with a suggestion. My suggestion is that we rotate some afternoons that we get to leave early, because I have errands to run too. I have, and this is particularly important for single people, because people think, well, people with kids, they got to go. But the single people can stay up here all night because they don't have any. What do you like? I have a life. I may have an exercise class. I may be taking a class online. I may want to go home and wash my hair. Don't plan what's happening in my life, right? So, but you see the difference. Instead of saying, I feel, I'm upset, this makes me mad, I don't use that kind of language. I say, this is what the policy says. This is what I have observed. What is your plan for addressing it? I have some suggestions if you would like. Whenever I go to complain about something, I always bring a suggestion. Always bring a solution. Be the person that shifts you from being the complainer to the problem solver. Just like that. Just like that, instantly. So what would you like to see happen to remedy this? Hey, I'm not saying that Jim can't go and do his thing, but maybe we could rotate that flexibility. I'd love to be able to leave at 12 on next Thursday, because I have a bunch of repairs being done at my house. Is that okay? Right? Like, now you're giving them something that they can act on. You've elevated the issue, but you've also given them a solution. And that, to me, is about ascribing good intent, right? Maybe you didn't realize this. I'm bringing this to you and I'm spotlighting it, but I'm also giving you a solution on how to address it, right? If you lose your temper, you lose your power. I'm gonna say that one more time. If you lose your cool, you've lost your power. Right? And I believe we fight fire with water, not with fire. So when you escalate, and I guess I'll say, boy, I'm full of quotes today. When you start a fight, you don't get to decide how it ends. Right? So you go in there hot, mad, that you're starting a fight, but that fight may end with you out of a job. Right? So I don't start fights. I fight fire with water. It's de-escalation. I'm not confronting you. I'm not arguing with you. This is what I observed. This is what the policy says. We are not operating consistently. Here's my suggestion on how we fix the problem, because I'm going to ascribe good intent to you, that you want us all to work harmoniously here together. So here's how I think we solve that problem.
Wow. Denise, I could stay here on this slide with you all day. I'm not going to do it. I have one more question, I promise, and that's it. Okay. So what about those women who work in a male-dominated organization? Any quick little tips for them?
I think that I love Alice Walker's book, The Same River Twice. It's based on the African proverb, you never step in the same river twice, because the water is always changing. The life in the river is always changing. It's never the same river. And sometimes we come to these situations really burdened with the history of how it was last year or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Yes, it's a male-dominated industry, but you're here today. You're here right now. You made it through. You are here. And sometimes we're working in an old mindset of how it used to be, instead of being a part of the creation of what it could be. So I think there's an optimism you have to bring with you to work every single day. And you have to elevate other women. You have to look for women to mentor. You have to mentor young men. So it normalizes a woman being the boss or being their leader. So I think that there's a sense of optimism that you have to bring to those spaces. And if you do that, you'll relate to the other people better. Don't be afraid to say, hey, Jim, let's go to lunch. Hey, Tom, I don't really know you that well. I'd love to get to know you better. Let's set up a 30-minute Zoom just so I can learn more about you and you can learn more about me. Like, you have to connect. Don't think that because it's male dominated, that means you're always going to be on the outside of the circle. Push into that circle. You're there because you have the gifts and the capabilities to be there. So act like it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Denise. This has been wonderful. Such great information. I have about 2 pages of notes, and you're right. I'm going to do so. What I have to do is work on one thing at a time. So I'm going to work on one thing at a time, one per week, and then I'm going to progress. But this was great. This was wonderful. And for all of you who are watching, of course, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on Periscope. Thank you so much, Denise. Before you go, I'm just going to go through just a quick few announcements for our viewers about some things that are coming up. So just hang tight with me for a second.
Sure.
Okay. One second. Here we go. All right. I think we got it. Okay, so we just have a few announcements for our viewers. First of all, thank you so much for joining here today with us. You've heard from Denise Hamiliton, world-renowned international speaker. So she's going to come back in a minute, kind of give us how we can follow her. But don't forget, of course, this year is our Reconstruction 2021. And so we are reconstructing everything in our lives, no matter what that looks like for you. You need to reconstruct, whether it's your finances, your business, your fitness. Please work on reconstructing. And then, as we said before, we are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook and on Periscope and on Twitter. So make sure you follow us on those events as well. Family, we are appreciating each and every one of you guys. We are having our pastor, Lady Pam, and servant appreciation this Saturday at 2 o'clock at C.W. Hayes School. So we want to see y'all there. We have just a token of our appreciation of how you guys have just stepped up and served these past 7 years. So thank you for that. And then Pastor Mason is going to be starting a new series in honor of our National Women's Month. It is the Power of a Woman series. So that's going to be every Sunday in the month of March. You've heard today from Denise Hamiliton, a woman in her business. And so next week, you're going to hear from Nikki Ivory. She's going to talk about a woman and her entrepreneurship. So make sure you share the word and spread that as well. Don't forget all of our BBC virtual hangouts. We start our small group, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, called The Invisible War. All these events are listed. They're on our website. We meet with the seniors, the men, the children, teenagers, women. We're going to start having family game nights. And so we want to make sure everyone is staying connected. So we want to do all we can. So please make sure you are participating in that. We are in the middle of our 4 days of power through fasting and praying. Don't forget that, because I don't know about you, but I need God to do some mighty things in my life and the life of my family. So it started February the 16th. It's going to end March the 31st. Those guidelines are on our website. So go to bhambc.org, click on message outline at the top, and then you will see the fasting download form that you can download. And then we are constantly praying for our president, Kamala Harris, and the entire administration. So we're asking all of you all for 100 seconds per day for 100 days to pray for our new administration. And then a couple of things we have that's coming up for the month of April. For all of our kiddies, we are having a drive-by basket. We're going to drive by each one of y'all's houses, and we're going to give you all a nice little Easter basket. Trying to, of course, be very innovative during this time. You know, normally we have our carnival, our Resurrection Carnival. And so because of COVID and what's going on, we want to be safe, but still want y'all to have fun. So a little gift from Pastor Mason. Y'all have to thank him later for that. And then next month, we are having our virtual etiquette class. I think, and this is just personally, my children, my two youngest children forgot some things when we had our last etiquette. And so we want to do a refresher course, but we're going to do something a little different. So instead of having the etiquette of sitting down and the place setting and all that kind of stuff, we want to learn Zoom etiquette, how to behave on Zoom. We want to learn how to have good cell phone etiquette, what is appropriate to say, not to say. Should you be on those apps? We're going to have someone to teach us about self-care, because guess what? We're at home, but we still need to take baths, brush our teeth. so it's going to be really fun. Please, we're going to have more information later, but of course, parents, you can sign up with me for that. And then another announcement we have for April is if you are a business owner, you can sign up for our virtual business expo. We had about 5 or 6 people last month. We're going to have these instead of monthly, we're going to have them every other month. So of course, if you desire to be a part of that, please contact myself at ladypam@tcowi.org. And then don't forget our prayer room, y'all. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have our prayer room at 6 a.m. The number is on the screen. It's 515-604-9324, and that access code is 381179. Of course, these announcements are on our website at bhambc.org, so you can make sure that you can follow and adjust your schedule accordingly. Well, that's all we have. Miss Denise, can you please tell can follow you on social media and Clubhouse? That was that was for me.
Yeah, I'm official DHAM on all outlets, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and Clubhouse. If you need a Clubhouse invitation, let me know. We'd love to have you join us there. We do a lot of content under the Watch Your Work, and my other club on Clubhouse is All Hands. So yeah, it's been a pleasure having some time with you today. Check out watchyourwork.com if you haven't, just to look for some great advice. We are going to be releasing, hopefully next week, the Watch Your Work annual report on women. And hopefully we can share that with your members of just kind of statistics about how are we doing, because we had a lot of challenges this year. And yeah, just stay in touch, and so thrilled to be with you today. Thank you so much for the kind invitation. I was happy to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you so much, Denise. And so once again, that's DHAM, which D as in dog, and then HAM. Y'all can follow her that way. So thank you so
Official DHAM.
much.
Yeah,
Official.
official DHAM.
DHAM. That's right. Gotcha. Okay. Official DHAM. Thank you so much for that. But thank you guys for watching. And of course, we'll see y'all on Sunday. Thank you, Denise.
Thanks,
Have a good day.
everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.